I want to say a few words about saying words. The 4th of July is a time when we're invited to reflect on what we love about the United States of America. And I think that's a worthwhile activity, reminding ourselves that this country is singular and full of beauty and brilliance. One of the things I most admire about America is its language, and specifically its speech. On my business card, I am a professor of English, but in my heart, I'm a professor of American. And although I teach writing, I always try to remember that writing was invented to preserve speech, and invented quite recently, all things considered. And it's far from a perfect representation of speech. Speech loses a lot of itself when it's railroaded into writing. Inflection, modulation, timing, and even the nonverbal. Those of you who send text messages, think about this for a moment. What emoji do you use more than any other? You have thousands of options. If you want to send your friend a moose or a no parking sign or a burrito, you can easily do so. And yet, according to the linguist Gretchen McCullough, by far the most commonly used sets of emoji are the faces and the hands, like the smile, the face with tears of joy, the thumbs up, and the crossed fingers. As soon as we had the technology to send any image anywhere, she notes, we used it to restore our bodies to our writing. Written language wants to be more expressive, more alive, more fully human. It's trying to get back to being speech. And yet, a lot of writing teachers police the border between writing and speech like security guards at a cemetery. For a long time, I was one of them. I used to take great pride in my ability to explain the evils of split infinitives and the distinction between who and whom. Such teachers would be harmless enough if their influence were confined to the classroom. The trouble is that they send so many people out into the world with ideas about correct and incorrect English. First of all, there is no English. There are Englishes, plural. Standard English, the kind taught in schools, is just one of them. And as its name suggests, it's the most boring one. And even in standard English, there are no laws, there are conventions, and those conventions change, and that change is driven by how people speak. Not only that, but the most expressive English often defies convention. No one wants to ride around with the windows rolled down listening to "I can't get any satisfaction," "Lie, lady, lie," or heaven forbid, "Whom do you love?" I've lived in 6 different states, in small towns and big cities, but I've never lived anywhere as diverse as the place I grew up, which is right here, central Topeka. I come from a family of teachers, so standard English is my mother tongue, but I will tell you with some confidence that I would not have become a writer or a writing teacher if it weren't for the influence of other Englishes on my own, especially African American vernacular English or Black English. No class has taught me half as much about the dynamism, the versatility, the endless virtuosic possibility of language. Black English is widely recognized as a member of the family of Englishes. Needless to say, not everyone who is Black speaks it, although most of its fluent speakers are Black, and very few people speak it exclusively. All of us know how to code switch, shifting from one diction or range of reference to another depending on who we're talking to. But for me, that's a social skill. For members of minority groups, it may be a survival skill. Black English is nimble and quicksilver, constantly updating itself. Steve Harvey said that if you're compiling a Black English dictionary, it better be in pencil. But Black English is also internally consistent. As the linguist William Labov has pointed out, it is governed, like all other vernaculars, by a complex set of systematic rules. People who attempt to mock Black English invariably reveal their ignorance of those rules, but that doesn't seem to stop them. Black English is almost certainly the most grammar policed of any American dialect. As Labov writes, people who cannot detect a shred of racial bias in their own thinking will be profoundly biased in their reactions to African American speech. And that's ironic, because Black English has done so much more to enrich Standard English than the other way around. A huge proportion of the new words that enter the dictionary each year arrive via slang, and Black English serves up memorable slang faster than Standard English can appropriate it. In my own very white lifetime, I have embraced the words homeboy, whack, and death, and the phrases mic drop, with the quickness, and back in the day. I've watched dope, ill, and stupid become superlatives, and goat become its own antonym. I've been called by old friends an A1 from day one. I've used salty to mean irritable, crib to mean house, and serve to mean soundly defeat. Chill has been both a verb and an adjective. My car has been a ride, although not a whip. I don't think Subarus qualify as whips. I've seen disrespect become a verb, and then a much shorter verb, dis, which then became a noun again. I've used drop to mean release to the public, and word to mean, well, it's kind of untranslatable, which is what I love about it. There is no Standard English word for word. But slang is ephemeral, you may be thinking. There's a difference between words that contribute something significant to the language and words that are simply cool or hip for a moment. That may be true, but cool and hip themselves originated as Black slang, and they've been around for close to a century. You may not think you use Black English, but Black English is using you. And that's not just the lexicon. As Zora Neale Hurston has pointed out, Black English is a style, full of invention, inversion, mimicry, and the subtlest metaphors and similes. A speaker might ask children to enter her house one at a time, like lawyers going to heaven. And some Black English constructions are brilliant precisely because they resist Standard English's standardization. One of my favorite visuals to share with English classes is a meme, a picture of a football field under about 5 feet of standing water. Above and below the image in impact font and all capitals are the words, "Coaches be like, we still haven't practice." Everyone understands what the meme is saying and that it's funny. It employs what's called the habitual be, coaches be like, which exists only in Black English and, interestingly, in Irish English. It expresses a state of continuous being. When a person does something, that may refer to a single act. When a person be doing a thing, that's characteristic behavior. And it reveals something essential about the person who be doing it. We still have in practice may or may not be exactly what coaches sound like when they're standing water on the field, but it is decidedly what coaches be like. Then the class talks about the linking verb, are, that's missing from we still have in practice. Linguists call this null copula, which just means no linking verb. It too is grammatically correct. It's just non-standard. And if we wait long enough, it will probably become standard because the sentence is perfectly clear without it, and because language seeks efficiency the way water seeks lower ground. In the meantime, it's Standard English's loss. And because teaching Standard English is part of my job, it's my loss as well. My students are going to have to write cover letters and office memos, and I hope letters to their senators, and those genres aren't yet ready for dropped linking verbs and the habitual be. I am, in a sense, obligated to teach my students to write less expressively. I can't single-handedly resolve this contradiction, but I can go around talking about it, and I appreciate being able to talk about it with you. Giving moral instruction from a literal pulpit feels so far above my pay grade that I'm risking vertigo up here. So let me leave you with a simple suggestion, let's call it. Today and every day, when you reflect upon what it means to be American, think about all that be and American can mean. We're nothing without each other. Our differences are our strength. Be American and make that the habitual be. Word.